I think what was most challenging when I first came to university was that I did not expect it to be that way, to be honest. Being away from home and family had a much larger and more important effect than I thought it would. And all this, like emotional distress, led me to intense insomnia problems.
When I first arrived to university, it was quite a challenge because for me it was a bit of a shock coming from the US to a different country for the first time and to experience a different school system.
I've always found exams quite challenging. Particularly for me, it was always the Christmas exams because you had just such little time to revise. I remember one year, Pharmacology 3, in my third year, it was just, I had so many drugs to learn, all the mechanisms of action and how they worked, and it was just too much to learn.
I think that university is a massive culture shock, no matter where you come from. You're suddenly in this big system where you're an anonymous person and there aren't obvious support mechanisms in place.
One of the challenges that I face is the relationship between staff and students and the desire to collaborate and co-design projects together. I find oftentimes students are maybe brought in at a later stage.
For me, I think one of the biggest challenges coming to university that I'd anticipated was that how you're going to meet people and settle in. For me, the thing I hadn't quite anticipated was that after sort of clinging on to those people at the beginning, then as I moved through university life, meeting new people, that I went from feeling quite a strong sense of belonging really early on in university life to almost feeling like I didn't quite fit in.
Now, I was the first in my family to go to university. I came from a pretty modest background in rural Northamptonshire, and when I came to make my application choices, I felt probably a bit intimidated by their reputations, so I probably undersold myself.
What I thought really helped were two things. Firstly, being able to get out of my comfort zone and talk to someone about what I was facing. And the second thing was deciding to be involved in peer support and becoming a pulse leader. And this gave me a sort of identity and a sort of role.
The staff here at the university, so like my personal tutor was really helpful in kind of laying out what the structure of the school system is like and then what my degree is like. There were international students who did more research than I did and also who were going through the same struggles as I was, and that was great to have a group that I could relate to.
And all I wanted to do was really just sort of speak to my mum, and obviously middle of the night I couldn't do that. I just sort of had to kind of come up with the coping mechanisms myself and really just de-stress, think about how I was going to go about the next few hours to really make sure that I could go into the exam and just do the best I could.
When I was considering dropping out in second year, in the end I decided to run to be a sabbatical officer. And it's been amazing having a proper work-life balance and a routine, and now I know that that's worked for me and I can apply it to my studies when I go back.
I've tried to always give students a platform from the start to engage with the process, and I think from that we've created really meaningful relationships that have gone on to mean more meaningful projects in the future.
As I was kind of gaining more confidence as I moved into second year and getting to know people on my course a bit better, it was developing that confidence to kind of strike out on your own and not be afraid to, make new friends. That's a natural thing to do.
I think I realised pretty quickly that I needn't have been so reticent, because everybody was there to take the same opportunities, and in the end I did.
It's okay to have problems that were not expected, and especially to have problems that are not related with academia or university or that sort of thing. It's okay to have emotional problems that we cannot solve right away. We're human, of course this will come around.
Advice that I'd give to students is I think to do your research, because that's something I wish I did before I came to university, but then I think it's also good to build up a support network of friends, because all the first years coming in we're all going through the same thing and you kind of forget that, but it's okay, this is new for everyone and it's a new experience, and then when you have everyone else that can relate to, I think it makes the whole experience better and also easier to get through.
Calm yourself down, slow things down, really think about what the next practical steps and what you're going to do. Just try and go into the exam just being as calm and as focused as possible, and if that means spending those next few hours just not revising and just kind of calming yourself down, then that's the best way you can spend those few hours.
I guess just try and treat uni like a job in a way. and just work out a routine that works for you and trying to stick to it as much as possible. It really helps if you're feeling overwhelmed.
I would tell people that are facing these challenges to keep it up, to keep it on. There's enough people around the university that believe in this kind of work. There's enough communities of practice that really believe that collaboration between staff and students is the key to real innovation. So I would encourage people to ask and reach out.
Change is really natural and it happens all the time. And I know from my life now that life changes, you're changing and developing all the time, and you need to kind of be flexible and open to that and not fear it.
Just go for it. If you're good enough, you will succeed, and you'll find yourself in a situation where you will discover that people who have had more advantage than you in one way or another are pretty much exactly the same as you. You can do as well as them, you can do better than them.